On February 14th, my mother's funeral was held. She had passed away peacefully in her sleep. My older sister and I were her only children. However, my mother was really estranged from us. When she was alive, we didn't have a close relationship. I wasn't sad about her passing, but being surrounded by shocked loved ones made me put on a mask and play along. Fake tears streamed down my face as I stood over my mother's coffin. I stared at her unbreathing figure, taking in this would probably be the last time I would ever see her body. While I was lost in my thoughts, a hand reached out and offered me a tissue. I looked up. That's when I saw the most handsome man I had ever seen. Even in funeral clothes, I couldn't help but think that he looked like a model straight off a magazine cover. The mysterious man gave me his condolences. Then we began having a conversation and hit it off immediately. Everything about him was just so perfect. We chatted for hours, until I almost forgot we were at my mother's funeral. Realizing it was getting late, I excused myself for a minute to go to the restroom. Upon entering the empty restroom, I began to touch up my makeup in the mirror, trying my best to impress the handsome man. Once I returned back to the graveyard with a fresh face, I realized that he had left. It registered in my mind that I never got his number, or any way of contacting him. In a desperate last-attempt effort, I tried searching up his name on all forms of social media, but no results ever came up. I started to realize how hopeless this was, and began coming up with potential solutions on how I could encounter him again. That's when my idea struck. Of course, it was so simple. That night, I snuck into my sister's room. She was breathing lightly in her sleep, probably worn out from all the talking we had to do today. I stood over her in silence, debating if my idea was really going to work. Then I decided it was at least worth a shot. The next morning, I was the only person with a heartbeat in my house. Almost a week later, my sister's funeral was held at the same graveyard as my mother's. I wondered to myself if she would have liked to be buried so close to Mom, but she wasn't alive to tell me her answer anyways. I spent the funeral greeting the same relatives I had seen a week before, but they all wore the same sad expressions on their faces. I didn't care about any of them though. At last, the person I had been waiting for came back. The handsome man from my mother's funeral. This time his suit was slightly different, but nonetheless he was still stunning. I made sure to exchange numbers with him, which he couldn't deny. After all, I did lose two relatives in the span of 2 weeks. How they passed away didn't matter. All that mattered to me was I had the handsome guy's number. He left after we made plans to see each other again. Now I was left alone in the cemetery. I took a seat next to my sister's grave. In my head, I could hear her asking why I did it. All I could do was smile. I did it so I could see him again.